Be advised, this is a free speech zone.
So welcome to the first podcast, the beginning.
The first one, the humble beginning.
Number one.
Let's
shake on it. So
right.
Today is July 10th, right?
July 10th, yes.
July 10th,
Tuesday.
2018. And this is our first of what we hope to be a mini podcast. So we want to talk about all kinds of things. And we want to have a drink while we do it.
Hey, I'll cheers to that one.
So on the way in, you heard an arcade beat. This is Robbie Kern. He's our engineer, and he makes beats, and you will hear many more of those.
This is Ron Ward, everybody.
And I do things. I swear I do things.
He's a jack of all trades.
I'm a Swiss Army knife of knowledge, I think. I've been studying a lot of things historically over the past. I'm 45 now. I'm going to be 45 this year. And over the last 2 decades, I've studied a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of parallels of all different kinds. And I just want to share some of that knowledge, obviously, and we want to show the hot button issue for this week and the last 2 weeks, especially today. There was a lot of reporting on it. Is the youth migrant centers that Trump came up with. And I want to, that's the official narrative. And I just want to talk about a couple things, as well as the youth migrant centers, where they came from, the fact that they were called a conspiracy in the beginning, and they didn't start with Trump. I'm not a big Trump guy, but I don't mind calling somebody out if they're giving misinformation. So you saw this in like 2014, 2015-ish. We started seeing reports, because you're a conspiracy guy as well.
Yeah, and I don't want to deter anyone from this thing, and this is like straight conspiracy. This will kind of take, like, it might seem like a conspiracy, but when you dive a little deeper and do some research, you'll see that something's like truly there, and there's something going on. Right.
So in 2014, 2015, we started seeing reports on the internet that they were taking Walmarts and closing them down and turning them into FEMA camps. And if you said that, then people would turn to you and say, you are insane. You need to be locked up. You're certifiable crazy. There's no proof of that. There's no evidence. Then that turned from that storyline to Walmart officially saying, yes, we have closed these 5 facilities down, and it's because of plumbing problems. The conspiracy guys again came in and said, we've all been into a Walmart that's under construction. They don't care about, plumbing problems unless it's a sanitary issue. They go on with the progress of business. So it went directly from that to
well, I want to back up on that because, like, you can also look at Walmarts from like aerial views and their locations and everything. They have like heavy plumbing right outside the facilities, like at each of them. So
drainage.
Yeah, something that you would need for like hospitals or a military camp, like that kind of grade. Of plumbing system, and now just they have to temporarily close Walmarts.
Right.
To fix their plumbing, like.
Didn't sound feasible. My brother-in-law, Bobby, has worked for Walmart for 20-something years, and it was his summation, and I've seen this as well online, that they were striking back at the workers. If you want to be paid more money, we're going to close your Walmart down, and we're going to... So that became part of the story. And then the story went underground for a while. That was during the Obama administration, so this had already been in play. And then suddenly, about a month ago, beginning of June, middle of June, the mainstream media, CNN and the tearjerkers, I call them, the people that like to make victims out of everybody, started saying Trump has camps where little children are locked up, and they were showing pictures of a van, a bus with all baby seats in it strapped in. And then, even in the article, when you click on the picture, it would take you to the organization that made the van, and the article came out in early 2016. So this has been in the works for a long time. Mm-hmm. Is my thing. Now, I want to say this. I do want legal immigration enforced. I'm not against immigrants at all. My best friend in Texas, his family were immigrants, and they came to America. America was, they say America was built by immigrants. It was built by everybody, including immigrants, all working together in a uniform, coexistence.
Yeah,
so that we can.
Yeah, that's literally, yeah.
So I'm not against immigrants at all, but I do want the government to enforce immigration. Okay, that's an unpopular thing right now. Some people scream racist at you if you say that when there's white immigrants that are coming in illegally.
Yeah.
That it's not a race thing. It's an America thing. Okay. So that being said, I would like to prove to people that this has been a plan for a while, and the way I want to prove that is we're going to turn to a document called Internment and Resettlement Operations 3-39.40. It's an Army Field Manual, and it was authored in 2010 for all of you who think that this is only a white, racist Donald Trump thing.
It just started or something.
Every president has a fuck you landmine, I call it, that they hand off to the next administration. And that's one of them. You're going to step on this landmine that I put there for you to step on. And it's a little thing that they do, Democrat versus Republican and so on, that they like to do to each other, because they really don't care about the American public. They really don't. They want their money, primarily. So this document, the Internment and Resettlement Operations document, talks. Well, first let's. You want to go ahead and show the actual first page of the document, so people can look it up for themselves, and they don't think it's a fake thing. They don't think it's I'm bullshitting or whatever.
Yeah, so this is right on GoArmy.com's website.
Right. When looking up the document, you will find also in the Google results internment and resettlement hoax. And when you click on those links, you find that people are going, there's a document saying internment and resettlement operations, blah, 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 but it's not for you, so don't even worry about it. Well, I'm going to show you how it is being used in America. And it is for you, as a matter of fact. So, first of all, we have this Army website where they are showing you that they're hiring for these positions. So, I don't have my glasses. You want to read off a couple of the things that, just the job duties, and this is a very sanitary document. They're trying to get you to join in with this. It's a job. It is a job. I understand.
It's a job, but I'm a little confused, right? Because it's the U.S. Army, and now they're hiring for law enforcement, legal enforcement, a supervisor of detention operations. Wouldn't that just be a detention officer?
Right. That's part of the IR directive.
External security to facilities? Like,
Military
unless you're
police?
just, yeah, I guess, yeah, unless you're just standing around or something. You got counseling and guidance to individual prisoners. Why, you know, we're counseling these prisoners now? If this is where they're putting them, you know.
Well, what if this covers several different things, like psychological counseling, like they're doing now with the kids, and some of them are not kids, some of them are adults portrayed as kids, but there's you know, and I was a kid too. You were a kid. Do you want to be locked in a facility? Now, some people that want the immigration enforcement, we go, yeah, you have to do that, and I go, okay, I understand. Their parents are, you know, and then some people who, by the way, I mean, the first people that are to blame are the parents for bringing. I would never take my kid into a situation where I knew I was doing something illegal that could endanger them, that could cause the state to take them from my custody. You're using your kid as a shield.
Well, I think trying to get to a better life is a little different.
Yeah, but that's not the kid's fault. So I understand. I'm compassionate. I understand both sides of the story, but people need to know about these things on top of the tear-jerking stories, on top of going, oh, the little girl was crying for her mother, and you know, that's a sad thing.
I think they're like hiding what they're actually like. I'm looking at this as a bigger picture. Just like this is a job we're hiring. Nowhere on here does it say children, but it says you're gonna get 10 weeks of basic combat training. Use of weapons. Yeah, it's literally the military taking over immigrants. Like, I mean, I guess who else would do it? But
right. Well, but this also, because when you get into the document and start reading it, it will tell you how sometimes the battlefield is here.
Yeah, that's a scare tactic
in America. So when they tell you I can bring up some of it and to look at it, because here's another thing about, I don't know if a lot of people read Army Field Manual. This is declassified, by the way. We're not doing anything illegal here. But when you start reading some of these, you'll see where, okay, like right here where it says Army Tactical Task under the Sustainment Warfighting Function, CFM 715. So they're making a point in the middle of this thing, and they're giving you another Army Field Manual to read to cross-reference that one. And that's where it starts to get really interesting, because then you start seeing how many of... They didn't write this for the hell of it. Mm-hmm. They wrote this because they're going to use it. Now, where do they plan to use it? Where's it already been used? I'm going to show you where it already has been used. So go ahead and I guess go ahead and do up that video so people have an idea that this is a serious thing. They're really serious about this. They even make recruitment videos.
Military Occupational Specialty, Internment Resettlement Specialist. The Army's Internment Resettlement Specialist plays an integral role in providing a uniform system of handling prisoners and detainees. First and always, these MPs are combat support soldiers, trained to fight.
Yeah, this is early on, I think, so they're
trained to control
using
and
Muslims
supervise detainees
in the video
to ensure humane treatment and to assist
get a
them
jelly
in
donut,
a
like
productive life.
Creepy.
You must qualify for a secret clearance. Then, the Army will train you to use specialized equipment to monitor activity, to conduct searches, and to inspect areas where prisoners work and live. Here, you'll train to in-process prisoners and detainees, and to brief them on their rights. In addition, you'll train to inventory and secure property, take photographs and fingerprints, issue personal items, and assign cells. You'll train to conduct prisoner formations and roll calls, to monitor their exercise, recreation, and work
Yeah,
areas,
there's really
to prepare and maintain records, and develop written reports. After your initial entry training and advanced individual training, you will work supporting military operations day or night in a garrison or field environment, where you may practice emergency procedures, detect and confiscate contraband, and escort prisoners outside the facility. Serving in this MOS can help you transition from the military to the civilian employment sector.
The guy looks just like a TSA agent,
You'll
doesn't
be
he?
providing both combat
Yeah.
support and law enforcement wherever
See how they
you
run
go.
through that door,
Always
bro?
upholding our motto, of the troops and for the troops. Military Occupational Specialty, Internment Resettlement Specialist.
Of the troops and for the troops, not the American citizens. So, you know, most of our shows are going to be.
You don't have a lot of stuff, and
So most of our shows are going to be kind of jovial, and we'll joke around a lot. And I'm the type of person with gallows humor. If somebody was about to shoot me, tied to a post, I would probably make a joke about it. So I'm not trying to make jokes about this because I think it's funny. I'm making jokes because I think it's sad, and it's the only way I can deal with it, you know. So if you want to bring up, before we get started on the document, do you have anything like? I know you're putting your input in, and that's good.
I don't know, it's just weird now. I heard Walmart's just gonna be all online recently now too. Like they're gonna shift towards that, and then
Right.
no
Well,
one's buying up their property. So
And by the way, and before we get into this, I want to point out that the conspiracy theorists that we were listening to early on, 2015 or so, that talked about 5 Walmarts being closed down and they were going to be turned into camps, they were right.
yeah, it literally
They-
happened.
Lo and behold, they were right, and everybody else was wrong. And my position is, what kind of deal did the federal government make with Walmart? How far is this going to go? And it's now come to fruition, as you said, that a couple of hundred of Walmarts have been shut down.
I think it's in the thousands now.
Is it?
I think so.
Are they for storage so they can go online and become Amazon's?
Warehouse, like an Amazon shipping
facility or a competitor? And how many of them are going to be turned in key strategic locations in the cities into another one of these camps? Because if you think about it, a Walmart has everything that you need. It's got a tire center for vehicles. Doesn't matter if the tires that are not in that tire center don't fit an Army vehicle, they can get them shipped in and they have a tire center. They have everything that you would need to maintain a little base, a little Army base.
Yeah.
You know? And so these are connections that I put together. And I got distracted from my phone. But these are connections that I put together, and I think everybody should put these connections together and all come together. Don't just go, hey, Ron and Robbie are crazy. Let's all get together and have a discussion. That's what we're here to do, right?
Yeah, we just like to hear alternative theories to things.
Absolutely.
So you think so we go back to Walmart and the government probably have some kind of partnership, right? Well, Walmart's like a $500 billion a year company. I'm sure they have some kind of pull. Obviously, they have lobbyists to do what they need. whatnot, but like, what do you think the reach is?
That I have not started to look into that yet, and I don't know. I guess maybe like your Business Insider type websites and stuff like that. I don't know if you know about that, but Business Insider is, they just, they'll say one thing on CNN about an issue, and then you go on Business Insider and they go, no, it's the money. We're building a pipeline. That's what this war is about. Sorry. They just, so I have yet to see any of that information come out, but it would be interesting to see. Obviously, Walmart made some kind of deal either to sell or to lease these facilities to the U.S. government, and it sort of talks about both in this document. It talks about acquiring already running businesses. It talks about partial construction. It talks about out and out construction of camps, since one of these options is already being used, I went ahead and made this connection. And
let's hear about it. Let's hear about this document.
Okay, so were you going to follow me on there, or?
Yeah,
because I was going to go from my.
Oh yeah, it's on this number. I got it. What is it under?
It should say, it should be a PDF. It should say internment resettlement. Hopefully my highlights made it through. Oh, that's cool. So you just...
3, 2, right.
Okay.
Here's the document. That's it in question.
So go to... first of all, show the number and everything that, for people, or go back to, what is it? Show the title of the documents. There, FM-39.40, field manual, meaning Army field manual. And that is it's just I really don't know what those numbers mean, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone could look it up, and I'm sure I'll look it up at some point, but under that 3- number, there are many other documents that coincide with this, from what I understand.
So they're related. So
They're
3-41 is related.
Right. They're what they're doing is elaborating further, and I think that's goes with compartmentalization. So maybe in compartmentalization, I let Robbie read this document, and he goes, "Okay, cool." And then there's another document that you're not allowed to read with a further directive somewhere else.
Yeah, like a cliff note.
Another compartmentalized department takes care of that.
That's
okay.
Gotcha.
So if you go to the preface, is where the highlights start. Here's your table of contents, and you can go ahead and read some of those titles and see if some of them sound legitimate, or some of them sound kind of run of the mill. Some of them are
I guess it's pretty much describing what that video we saw earlier.
right, and there's more. And I don't know if you know how these documents work, but there's no page number, so you have to go to a section and find a subsection.
Gotcha.
Is how you. And we're going to be spending a lot of our time in chapter 6, which is detainee facilities. What I wanted to sort of concentrate on, because that backs up my theory. Okay, and you have all your appendixes, which have your, or appendix, which have your, if I sound a little illiterate, I am. But I'm trying to put this all together, guys, okay? So. Okay.
All right.
All right. And those are all your figures that you just passed. Those are all graphics to show you. And read some of those bed down
The
basing.
bed down.
Yeah. Now they have. So when we start here, the preface, it states the goal of the document, which is guidance for commanders and staffs on internment and resettlement IR operations. Then it goes through to give you certain abbreviations for terms that they have given us. Enemy prisoner of war, EPW. You have civilian internees, which that's pretty self-explanatory. Retained personnel, which we'll go over later. Dislocated civilians, which could mean anything. That could mean, there was a hurricane in your area. So, some of this document is like, oh, okay, yeah, they're coming up with a way to help us be repatriated or whatnot. But
I heard they were also putting people from the hurricanes up in these facilities as well.
right, and that's fine as long as they're not using it for some kind of political means, which
right now they are.
Which right now they are, I'm going to stress this later, but I truly believe that this is a message for the American people too. That we can do this to you, and we've already planned for it, and it's already underway. So, but we'll go over that later. Then you have dislocated civilians. Operational environments, or OEs, and you'll see that a lot in the document, and there's several different definitions for operational environments. Host nation, HN, and you'll see that a few times, and there's some spots, there's some places in this document where you go, host nation, but you're talking about, it sounds like you're talking about America, and then you're talking about a host nation coming in. That's what I'm
Operational host nation.
gathering from.
Or maybe it's like if the UN's having a meeting here, like if you have to host, take it literal.
Yeah, right.
Host the nation. Yeah.
Other things to look for, and you have it on the screen there, about 2/3 of the way down. They made changes in the way that they say things. So if you start at the top there, FM-39.40 depicts the changes of terminology from the focus on contiguous battlefield to replace. I mean, there's a lot of work. This is a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, I don't know why did
So
they gotta make it so complicated.
what they did was they changed division forward and central collection point and core holding area, and they have been replaced with detainee collection point, DCP, detainee holding area, DHA. Theater internment facility, TIF. Theater internment facility to me means if you're in the theater, if you're in the midst of a war zone, that is what the military calls a theater of war. So you have a detainment facility within a theater of war, that's a TIF. Strategic internment facility is a SIF, which would mean a facility that is out of the war. Okay, so what you're looking at is your ISN, internment. What is it? Internment something number. Is that your wife coming home?
Yeah.
So, if you look there, it says capturing power, U.S. Theater code, which would be a code assigned by the military to tell you where you were picked up. Power served, I think that's the the military branch, if I'm not mistaken. Sequence number, which is a number that they give you, you're like a barcode. This is your barcode number. And then detainee classification, retained personnel, civilian internee, and so on. Enemy combatant of war, you know. And they're going to base this number on biometrics, including retina scans, saliva, the whole 9 yards. And once you're in this facility, that is your new number. It's like your new Social Security number.
Gotcha.
And so, once you go through this process, everywhere you go for the rest of your life, somebody can take your retina scan and go, this is Robbie Kern. He was picked up in 2019 for being at a protest because he doesn't want Walmart's turned into FEMA camps, and this is the day he was arrested, and this is, you know, it's going to have your whole record. And possibly medical records. I can't confirm that because I haven't read this whole thing intensely, but it wouldn't be out of the ordinary. Detainee identification band. So this is going to be a band that you're going to wear that has your ISN on it.
Like a hospital.
Like a hospital. Back when they started talking about the Walmarts closing down and being turned into these facilities, there was a couple of videos that showed the machines that you can go and take your blood pressure?
Yeah.
At the Walmart? So somebody had proposed that at some point in the future you would have an armband and you could go up and scan it on the corner of that screen, and it would do different things. Store your information on the band, send it to your doctor, or the more sinister one was exactly what we're potentially seeing now, to where you walk into this facility, you have a band, bam, you are scanned, they know exactly who you are, where you came from, everything about you. So these are the kind of things that are apparently becoming fact.
So do you think they're just going to force this on people, or do you think they'll spin it as some kind of like, oh, you can pay for your coffee, like wearable tech or something?
So this is what I think, because this is my so-called master plan. It's not my plan. It's my explanation of a plan. Is that every president in modern times has done something to forward the police state, the martial law state, whether it's getting together with the UN, having a resolution, or ramping up military operations, or false flags, or whatever you want to call it. And now it's time to bring this to a head. And the way to do that is to have a president elected who's a racist, sexist, homophobic, Islamophobic, just go down the line.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what you believe about Trump at all. He's just like every other president. He's being told what to do by an umbrella organization. Okay? And it is the people who oppose him violently, the people that go out and just find people in the street and go, Nazi. If I have a mob of people and I have them whipped up and I point to you on the street and I go, that guy's a Nazi, he voted for Trump, and the crowd turns on you, it's too late for you to try to have a discussion with those people and go, no, I don't like Trump. I didn't vote for Trump. I like some of his ideas, but Some of the stuff he wants to do with the economy is you can't do that. So they've whipped up all of these people into a frenzy, and it's their job, in the globalist view, the people that I believe are really pulling the strings, the multinational banks and the corporations that have no interest in America, they just want to bleed us. They're the ones that are driving this because they bought the government off, they bought the media off, obviously. And so it's in their interest to divide America so that they can conquer us one people at a time. And so groups of people will start being put into this system that you see here. And if you're not in the system, you go, well, I mean, that's good. They locked those people up. Those people were burning dumpsters and beating up old ladies in the street. Yeah, let's put them in there. Let's do that. And then they go after the next group of people. It's like the I forget the gentleman's name that wrote about the Holocaust, Wasn't a gypsy, they came for the gypsies, and so on. And then there was nobody to stick up for me. So, I think it's too late for this. This thing has been written. It's being implemented. We need to educate as many people as possible about it so people can get together and talk about things instead of getting together in the street and fighting it. That guy has a team's t-shirt that I don't like. I'm going to go beat him up. Or that guy has a shaved head, so he must be a Nazi. Or that guy is a black guy, so he must be with Black Lives Matter, and I don't agree. Let's put all of our differences behind us and get together and talk about these things. These things are real. This is a real thing that you can touch and read and interpret for yourself. And the more that we do that, the more that we see that we are not so different. That we are very much alike. And we just like different things. And if we literally abolish the parties, I think that would go a long way in politics. If there wasn't a Democratic Party...
Well, there didn't used to be parties. They used to just vote for
Have
whoever the best person was.
Just have a fucking election, man. If there wasn't a Republican Party and a Democratic Party, they're the ones that have these large conventions, and all the lobbyists come, and they inject all of this. I'll give you $1 million for your campaign if you just
vote this way.
Vote this way when I ask you to, and blah blah. All that money also goes to propaganda to drive people against each other, to create differences. Like, how many times have you seen on the news, CNN or whomever? I don't care who your news service is. They're lying to you at least part of the time. How many times have you seen a black man get shot in the back or shot down or whatever, and then people get upset about it? Or how many times have you seen a policeman do something good for somebody, or a white person agree with a black person, or a black person, or whomever?
I think you see it,
come
like
to get
the cops playing basketball or that guy boxing.
Yeah, but that's on social media. I'm talking about CNN. There's a really good video, and I'll try to pull it up for the next time that we're on. There's a video of, and it says something about citizen holds carjacker at bay until police arrive. And you click on the video, and you see a black gentleman, and he has a gun in his hand. And he's pointing it at a guy on the ground. This guy is like sitting on the ground like this, like cowering. Matter of fact, I think it's a white guy that he's pointing the gun at. And you can hear sirens in the background. And the police scream up into the driveway. And they jump out of the car. And they run over to the black guy. And they go, thank you. Thank you for holding him at bay for us. And the black man puts the gun in his own pocket, and they arrest the white guy, and they make a report, and How many times do you see that on CNN? You don't see when.
No, but they all. You know, all we can get. We'll have to get into the news later.
Yeah.
About the spider web that is, but kind of just go back.
Am I wandering?
Yeah, a little bit. Just kind of like
Sorry.
sum this up. Like, what are like your fears of like this?
So that's the what subsection?
No, not necessarily this. Just the whole document and what they're doing with it. And besides like the kids and stuff, what do you think the biggest hurdles are going to be with this, or like what you see being implemented? Obviously, they said right there in 2030 they anticipate 60% of America being in urban areas and fighting over resources. Do you see that, and you want people to be aware that the government is anticipating this, prepare yourselves, or are you saying fight against your government, call for concern, or?
Like I said, ideally, when one of these things becomes declassified, that's what should go on social media. I'm not on social media at all. You know that. I don't have a reason to be. Maybe I should get on there to further this, but instead of putting, and I love goofy stuff too. I love it when somebody is doing something stupid and they crash their head into a wall. I love it. It's funny. It's hilarious. Okay, but instead of posting things like that, why wouldn't something like this go viral and people who've never heard of it or seen it before start reading it and go, internment serial number? Like, really? You're going to biometrically scan my eye?
And most people are just going to continue.
Huh?
Most people are going to continue on with their scroll.
Right.
So they see this. What can you do?
I don't know. Like I said, try to expose it, and that's why we're doing this. Expose it piece by piece. This is our first show. But this is not the only show that you're going to see this on, because there's so many things in here. They could go 6 ways from Sunday.
And it's still happening right now. So.
And it could be used for all different kinds of applications to take people and lock them up because you don't like that they're criticizing the government or criticizing a corporation that is trying to get something done through the government, or so my fear, if you're asking, is that this thing is going to be used for political means now and in the future, and there will be no real dissidence. There will be no real argument against anything meaningful, because, hey, we'll come to your house, we'll warn you one time. If I could take your kids, take your ass, push you in this facility, give you ISN, and all these things until you learn to shut up.
And let's do what we want.
And let us do what we want. And you may know about it, but don't tell anybody else about it. That's my fear, because I'm one of the ones trying to put this stuff out here. I've showed this to several people, and they go, "Oh man, that's crazy!" And you scroll through it, and you show all the diagrams of the models for camps that they want to build, and did you see the transportation part? That's a scary one.
I think I saw a little bit.
Where they go through the whole thing. They go through buses, trains, planes, helicopters, how to transport all of these people to a point, and I just when you dig into this for yourself, you know that this isn't something that is just for people overseas. You know that it's not. It's definitely for us, and this is my final point is, you may want the government to enforce immigration. So what they did was they locked up a bunch of people and little kids in these facilities. And you get punished because you want them to. You should enforce immigration at the border, not after they get here.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So because you want something, you get punished for it, and then you can't gripe about this because you go, oh, well, all those little kids shouldn't be locked up. Well, they're going to find a reason to lock you up too, I believe, or us, And so if you go, yeah, I want immigration to be enforced, then you want their will to be enforced on you. That's the double standard. Or not the double standard, the double-edged knife right there. So, they do things like that all the time. They will be pretending to give something to a group of people or hold up an ideal, and then once you sign on to that, then they go against you. Does that sort of make sense?
Yeah, and like you said, we'll dive in a little deeper. Like I said, it's our first episode, so a little brief overview of one of the many topics we'll cover. So I think people can look forward to episode 2.
Yes. And by the way, I didn't say it at the beginning, but I want to thank Addis Laws, who we're doing this for his website. He's I've known Addis for a few years now, and we've had some of these deep discussions. And it finally came to a point where he created a website, and then through another one of our friends, Robert Moore. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate your support. He put me in touch with Addis because I didn't have his number. And with his blessing, he said, "Shoot us a pilot, and we'll look at it." And I really hope that everything works out, and we gave the people some good information here, because this is something that, like I said, Robbie and I have been talking about for a long time. Not necessarily just this one document, but the whole meme of where are we going with all of this. And I think some of this will explain it.
I think so too. Till next time.
We're out of time.
Be advised,